Hello everybody, welcome to Deluxe Collectibles, and today I'm going to be doing my reaction and review for LEGO Ninjago Season 11, Episode 8, Snaketastrophy. So if you would like to go view the reaction before watching this review, because it will include spoilers, then you can head to the top of the description of this video and there will be a link leading you to my Google Drive where you will be able to access the reaction portion of this video, and that just makes it easier for me because then I don't have to worry about copyright, and I'm able to show you the full episode uncut and everything, so you're able to view it along with me. And then once you're done watching that, be sure to come back to this video to view my review and hear my score for the episode. I will be doing this for every episode of Season 11 of Ninjago, and we're on episode 8 here, so let's get straight into it. So I really enjoyed this episode. The previous one had shown us the ninja escaping from the temple that they were trapped in, and now this one is focusing on the actual news covering the story in Ninjago City. So I really like this interesting aspect that they're going with this season of kind of showing the almost different perspective. Instead of just constantly focusing on the ninja, we're actually seeing the news reporters kind of focusing on the story, and I think that's very interesting because obviously if you're just a standard citizen in any city, but specifically Ninjago City here, of course, fictionally speaking here, you wouldn't be have any real idea of what's actually happening. So I think that's interesting to see that perspective where they're not in the know. So I think that was really interesting to see, and I liked how it was kind of mocking like how news is today. Like, I found one really funny part was when they're talking about the breaking news at the start, and then they just move on to a puff piece where it's just Gale Gossip covering like a dog show basically, and I'm like, that's kind of funny because that's kind of how it is in the news. You'll hear about something super tragic, and then they'll be like, but here's a parade that's going on, or here's another like interesting thing about, oh, a new film that's out, or a celebrity couple. It'll just be something that you really shouldn't be as focused on as it is, but it's just kind of deterring us from the actual issues that are going on. So I found that really interesting and a funny kind of critique on what's actually happening in our society. So I did find that to be really funny. We got to see the return of Dareth for this season, and it sounds like he's had his kind of karaoke bar reopen after extensive renovations. So I found that really funny that we were able to see him again. So I thought that was good. Just kind of check on him a little bit. I'm assuming we're not going to see too much of him in this season. The main reason why he had such a big role in season 9 was because the other ninja, the main core ninja, other than Lloyd and Nia, were trapped in the other realms. So that's kind of why he kind of had to join the team. They kind of had to get the B team together, which I find really interesting that we don't, like, it's funny how they try to build this relationship between, kind of going off on a rant here quickly, but they try to build a relationship between Kai and Skylar, and they'll do that every so often, and then she'll just disappear. It's just like it goes nowhere. So I don't know what they're really trying to do with that. It seems a little bit inconsistent, but getting back to the main plot of this episode. So I found one part really interesting. Sorry about that squeak there on my chair. Was that we get to see the other Pyro Vipers, and they seem to actually have, they're not just like just mindless kind of drones. They actually have a little bit of a personality, because one of the reporters interviews one of the snakes, and they actually talk about how they want to conquer Ninjago City, and I found that really interesting. And then we also get to see Gale Gossip when she tails one of the Pyro Vipers and then finds kind of where they're meeting up to discuss their plans, and as Sphera is giving out the orders, and she's talking about wanting revenge against the person who entrapped them, and apparently they use some sort of relic to do that, or they're trying to look for some sort of relic at the Ninjago Museum, and that's where the person who's filming, Gale Gossip, gives them the information on how to get there, because she's like, I'll spare you, but she winds up kidnapping them anyway, which kind of obvious. They're just your typical evil villain there, so they're not really going to stick to their word as much as a good person would. Really interesting. We don't see clutch powers in this episode. I'm really assuming they're done with that character. Kind of disappointing there, but I went into it quite a bit in the previous review, so if you want to see my kind of thoughts on clutch, be sure to head back over to that. But this one I felt like was a pretty good episode. I like seeing that different perspective. This was very similar to the episode with Little Nelson, except in this one, nearing the end of the episode, the ninja actually show up and they're here to kind of save the day. And they show up, and I really like one of the shots where it's Lloyd and Jay, and I saw this in one of the trailers, and where they just kind of use their elemental abilities, and they're on top of Land Bounty, and I found that really interesting, and we get to see them actually defeat a Pyro Viper, so it seems like Nia brings some water up from the fire hydrant, and then throws it on them, and then it turns it all like, it just turns it fully, like, black, it seems like. It seems like it kind of took away the fire, extinguished it, specifically. And then Zane seems to use his ice, I'm pretty sure, to kind of freeze it, and then it just breaks apart and completely disintegrates. So it seems like they're not really super difficult to beat, but it seems more like they're more powerful in numbers, and of course they can cause a lot of damage because they're using their fire elemental abilities there. So that was really interesting, and I found that to be very cool action scenes that I'm sure will come from that as well, just having the ninja kind of combating them there. And I didn't, I didn't really notice if Kai used his elemental abilities. I don't think he did, but I can't be exactly 100% sure. Maybe I'll check on that quickly here on my computer. I might not actually bother. Just let me know down below if he used his elemental abilities, if you know. I'm going to definitely check after this, but I don't want to take up too much of your time here. But I'm not sure about that, so I won't discuss it too much. I'll discuss it in the next review. But overall, I found that this episode was pretty well structured. It was kind of like a bit of a side story, but also keeping with kind of the continuity of the show. And at the beginning of the reaction, I said, oh, I'm wondering why they're showing the same kind of intro as the one for the previous episode, kind of recapping when the ninja are captured. And I realized it's because when they're filming here for the news reporters, this is going on at the same time as the ninja are escaping the temple, so they're not aware that they've already that the previous episode they escaped, because that's taking place kind of near the end of this episode, so it's kind of like they're running at the same time here, so that makes sense why the intro was like that. So I just wanted to clear that up so it doesn't sound like I was still confused about that aspect of it. But I found that really interesting. I know I say that a lot. I find a lot of things interesting you might find. Oh, I really love the parodies of the commercials. I really wanted to talk about that. Especially the sunblock one. I found that one to be really funny. Where they're like, oh yeah, like the voice that he's using. It sounds so like monotone and fake. I was like, man, it's actually really funny. Kind of doing another parody of commercials. Like your general like commercials just trying to sell a product there. But not doing it very well. And I loved how the commercials were like, they weren't like pre-recorded things, they were like live commercials, like just in the middle of this crisis they're still trying to advertise stuff, like Dareth advertising his karaoke bar. So I found that really interesting, and overall I thought the episode was pretty well done. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10, same as my previous review. I gave that one a 7 out of 10 as well. I felt that it was really good. I didn't absolutely love it. I'm more of a person who enjoys a lot of the action focused on the ninja. I did enjoy this story with Little Nelson, but I felt that one was just more well done. I didn't feel like all of the jokes landed here, but I did like the critique that they were doing with the news, kind of doing that, kind of commenting on our society and our perspective on news and what's kind of important and what should be in the spotlight and be primarily discussed. So I found that was really interesting, but I think it was a decent episode. By no means it was bad or disappointing. I just felt like it was average. So that's why I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Let me know your review for this episode and what score you would give it. And let me know what else you would like to see on the channel. I'm definitely going to be continuing this reaction and review series for LEGO Ninjago. But let me know if you would like to see any other cartoons being covered on the channel. And let me know what else you would like to see. And keep in mind, on this channel I focus on Funko Pops, Blu-rays, LEGO reactions, reviews, reviews, all that cool stuff. So be sure to stay tuned. I appreciate any support you can give to the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave it a like. I will see you all next time, and always remember, keep on collecting.